Welcome, everyone. I'm Beth Wingate, APMP Fellow and CEO of Lofeld Consulting Group. I'm joined by my colleague, Brenda Crist, also an APMP Fellow and Vice President of Lofeld Consulting. Brenda holds APMP Professional Certification and teaches several of Lofeld Consulting's classes. We each have over 30 years of experience in bid and proposal management and writing, and we've been helping proposal teams implement AI since 2023. We published the first book on AI use in proposals for bid and proposal professionals in April 2024. AI is already part of proposal development, but in most organizations, its application is inconsistent and used without clear guardrails. Today, Brenda and I will talk about our new book, From Prompts to Proposals, an AI Maturity Model, a practical framework specifically designed for proposal capture and operations teams. The model outlines 5 maturity levels, and we'll go through each level and show how organizations can progress from ad hoc AI use to disciplined practice, better security, and results you can measure. Most teams are surprised by where they actually land. At the end of our presentation, we'll give you a QR code to download a free copy of our new book, and you'll be able to take your AI maturity self-assessment.
In the early days of AI adoption, the dominant use case was drafting. Writers used AI to generate first drafts, rephrase content, and accelerate production. That remains true today. Drafting content still leads at 58% of respondents in our 2026 poll. But the real story is where value is expanding. Between 2024 and 2026, we saw measurable growth in 3 areas. Proposal reviews and scoring went from 15% to 19%, compliance validation up from 7% to 12%, and brainstorming and solution holding steady at around 12 to 11%. What is also changing is how we use AI. In 2024, most teams relied on a single prompt to generate content and considered that a breakthrough. By 2026, mature teams have moved well beyond that. They are building configured AI workflows in persistent workspaces. Let me give you a definition of persistent workspaces. They are dedicated environments within an AI platform that retain files, standing instructions, and conversation histories across multiple sessions. Rather than uploading documents or re-explaining background at the start of every conversation, the workplace holds that context, so AI enters each session already oriented and ready to work. With persistent workspaces, you'll also find structured process instructions, or just instructions for a shortcut here, which tell AI how to execute a specific task in the same disciplined way every time. Let me share a pattern we've seen repeatedly over the past year. A federal contractor enthusiastically adopts AI. Within 3 months, they're producing single drafts significantly faster. The team is thrilled and leadership is impressed. During the final proposal reviews, something subtle begins happening. Reviewers keep writing the same comment. Clear writing, but where is the differentiation? Then they lose recompetes. The evaluator feedback is negative, or more often it's neutral. AI had amplified existing boilerplate, but hadn't strengthened the approaches. These organizations are using AI immaturely. Once they shift and start using AI strategically to improve their proposal scores and quality, they'll also find their win rate increases. Here's the core premise of everything we're going to discuss today. AI maturity is not about mastering prompts. It's about designing systems. AI amplifies whatever operation structure it enters. If your workflows are fragmented, AI accelerates fragmentation. If your content library is organized, AI scales that inconsistency. Without the controls listed on the side, organizations plateau quickly. With them, organizations can maximize the advantages that AI offers. Now, Beth is going to give us an overview of our AI maturity model. Beth?
As a result of our operations, we created the Lofeld AI Maturity Model. The model consists of 5 levels. Level 1, explore, individual experimentation, high variability. Level 2, apply, defined use cases, repeatable patterns. Level 3, standardize, workflow integration, governance defined. Level 4, scale, embedded quality systems, measured return on investment. And level 5, transform, AI orchestrated proposal operations, executive ownership. Most organizations operate across multiple levels simultaneously. Writers may be at level 1, managers attempting level 3, and executives expecting level 4 outcomes. This misalignment creates friction. The purpose of the model isn't speed, it's sequencing, because skipping levels increases instability, and instability reduces trust. Organizations can use this model as a benchmarking tool to identify where they're stalling and where to focus next. If you'd like a structured assessment version of this model, we'll share access at the end of this presentation. We can also help you conduct an assessment. This model matters because it prevents premature scaling. Many organizations expand AI use before they define governance, which creates inconsistent outputs across contributors, security and governance gaps, and loss of reviewer and leadership confidence. This model provides structure. It gives leadership an accurate picture of where the organization actually is. It keeps teams from scaling practices that just aren't ready. Without structure, early gains plateau. With it, each level builds on the last, and teams stop having the same problems repeatedly. Finally, our AI maturity model provides a tool to assess your current state.
Maturity initiatives fail not because of technology limitations, but because of unclear ownership. Who approves the tools? Who defines acceptable use? Who validates content? Who monitors risk? When roles are clearly defined, maturity can advance. Without defined accountability, AI adoption becomes political. Governance does not slow innovation, it stabilizes it. Consider creating a simple RACI chart to clarify who's responsible, who's accountable, who must be consulted, and who must be informed. When roles are explicit, AI adoption accelerates safely. When roles are clear, maturity can advance. This model is a diagnostic tool. It is designed to help you answer one question. What is our next discipline step? So benchmark at every level with the understanding that most organizations operate across multiple levels simultaneously. Identify your next capability gap. Then close that gap intentionally before expanding further. Don't skip levels because it introduces risks, including AI fatigue, credibility erosion, and governance backlash. Now we'll walk through the levels in sequence, starting with where most organizations begin, exploration. Now Beth is going to talk about early adoption at levels 1 and 2.
Level 1 is where nearly every organization begins. This is the exploration phase. Individual writers and proposal managers begin experimenting with AI tools to accelerate drafting, summarize RFPs, or brainstorm ideas. Enthusiasm is typically high because early results can feel like a breakthrough, but this stage is highly variable. Output quality depends heavily on the individual using the tool. One writer may produce strong, structured drafts. Another may produce generic language that requires significant rewriting. There's little consistency across the team. Governance at this stage is usually minimal. Most use is unofficial, ungoverned, or both. Security and data handling are rarely addressed at this stage. AI is being used, but not yet managed. Don't get us wrong, exploration is necessary. However, level 1 can't be the long-term operating state. Organizations that treat exploration as permanent adoption tend to plateau quickly. Those who intentionally close the exploration phase and move towards structured application create the foundation for sustainable progress. Level 1 carries identifiable risks. The first is hallucination. confident, well-written statements that aren't fully verifiable. The second risk is what we call AI speak, generic phrasing, over-polished transitions, and language that says nothing specific about your solution can become detectable. As evaluators read more AI-influenced proposals, tolerance for generic language decreases. Third, security exposure risk. Proposal content often includes pricing strategies, proprietary processes, and sensitive partner information. Uncontrolled tool usage may introduce compliance concerns. Finally, bias. Your AI tool is pulling content from a limited data pool or from unvalidated old proposals, which can introduce bias. For example, it can skew how you describe your capabilities or misrepresent your past performance. These risks don't mean AI should be avoided. They mean exploration must be stabilized. Guardrails, approved tools, and human review at key checkpoints reduce risk without eliminating innovation. In addition, NIST's AI risk management framework emphasizes governance, validation, and accountability as core enterprise requirements, not optional controls. I've put the link to the framework on the slide for you. The organizations that move intentionally from experimentation to structured use reduce backlash and increase leadership confidence. Risk isn't the enemy, unmanaged risk is.
Level 2 represents the shift from curiosity to intentionality. At this stage, organizations identify specific, approved, high-value use cases for AI like RFP analysis, compliance matrix development, structured brainstorming, or first draft generation. Please note the book is filled with use cases for your consideration. Level 2 is necessary. It builds competence and confidence. But organizations that remain here without advancing towards standardization will struggle to convert speed to measurable advantage. Intentional use is progress, and integrated use is transformation. The most important evolution within Level 2 is strategic application. At this stage, AI becomes a strategic assistant rather than just a writing tool. AI begins supporting more than drafting. It helps map strengths to evaluation criteria. It helps identify capability gaps. It supports bid and no-bid analysis by summarizing complex requirements. However, reliability becomes critical. Its outputs vary widely or require heavy correction. Confidence erodes. Strategic decisions cannot depend on inconsistent input. This is where discipline begins to matter more than experimentation. There is a key mindset shift at this point going on from, how can AI help me draft this section? To, can AI strengthen our overall positioning and decision making? The shift prepares the organization for Level 3, the turning point.
Let's stop here at Level 3, which is where we move from repeatable prompts to organized workflows. It's time for a poll to see where you are on your standardization journey. How standard are your AI workflows in prompt engineering? Well established. You have standardized prompts, persistent workspaces, and structured process instructions. AI tools are integrated with other tools, and they're secure. Somewhat standardized. You have partial integration, you have standardized workflows, but you haven't set up persistent workspaces or structured process instructions. Or not yet standardized. Your tools aren't integrated. You don't have a standardized prompt library. You haven't set up persistent workspaces or structured process instructions. Wherever you landed, Level 3 is where the path forward gets clearer. Level 3 is the turning point in AI maturity. It's where AI stops being layered on top of your process and becomes integrated into it. Approved tools are documented. Security requirements are clear. Persistent workspaces and structured process instructions are built and shared. Prompt libraries are shared across teams. AI is embedded into defined stages of the proposal lifecycle: capture compliance, content development, and review teams. Variability decreases. Reviewers spend less time correcting tone and more time evaluating strategy and strengths. Compliance checks become more systematic. draft quality becomes more predictable. This is important because without standardization, scaling introduces instability. But here's the critical distinction. Standardization stabilizes AI, but it doesn't differentiate you. Level 3 reduces chaos, risk, and variability, but stabilization alone doesn't create competitive separation from other bidders. You can be fully standardized and still sound like everyone else. You can be fully governed and still plateau in win rates. That's why level 3 is necessary. It creates a foundation for scaling without introducing new risk. What differentiates level 3 is content readiness. AI retrieval is only as strong as the content foundation beneath it. At this stage, many organizations discover their knowledge libraries aren't AI ready. Past performance examples might be outdated. Boilerplate language may lack ownership or a regular update schedule. Content organization and tagging may be inconsistent or non-existent. When AI pulls from disorganized, outdated content, it amplifies the problem. That's the hidden barrier most organizations don't see coming. Content readiness requires clear ownership of artifacts, validation dates, structured tagging, and version control. Strengthening the content foundation is one of the highest return investments a company can make in its proposal operations. Those who skip this step often blame the tool for inconsistent results.
There is a moderate degree of risk associated with using AI. When asked what concerns you most about using AI for proposal writing, bid and proposal professionals who responded to our late 2025 LinkedIn poll responded as follows: 42% hallucination, 33% AI speak, 17% security, and 8% bias. Mature organizations should maintain an AI risk mitigation plan to ensure the accuracy and integrity of outputs produced by AI. Train their team in risk mitigation processes and maintain lessons learned loops. At level 3, teams must understand workflow integration, risk mitigation, and content architecture. The AI-enabled proposal professionals are not replaced by technology. Rather, they use technology to advance proposal operations. This shift requires enablement, not just tool familiarity. Many organizations are investing in structured AI implementation workshops or sprints to align governance, workflows, and team capabilities, such as those Lowfell Consulting offers. It's also a great time to formalize the use of GovOne's AI tools into your standard processes. Now let's look at level 4, which is scaling for advantage.
Level 4 is where AI stops being a drafting accelerator and becomes a performance system. This is where you stop asking, are we using AI? And start asking, are we winning more effectively? Here's what changes. Review team comments shift. You stop seeing clarify and generic. You start seeing strong, push it further. The conversation moves from fixing weaknesses to amplifying strengths. Late stage rewrites drop predictably, not because people worked harder, but because variability decreased. Strength density increases across volumes. Strengths aren't isolated, they're systemic, explicitly tied to criteria, and reinforced throughout your proposal. An evaluator debriefs reflect it. You hear clear differentiation, compelling strengths, and easy to evaluate. That's not efficiency, that's a competitive lift. Level 4 organizations don't just move faster, they compete more deliberately. Here's a story. One organization we worked with had stabilized AI at level 3, governance defined, content validated, prompt standardized. They didn't stop there. They moved into measurement, strength to weakness ratios, review findings, compliance defects, rewrite cycles, tracked after every submission. Within 6 months, late-stage rewrites dropped by nearly a third, and evaluator debriefs started reflecting it. Leadership stopped asking, are we using AI effectively? and started asking, what are the performance trends across our last 5 bids? That's the shift level 4 produces. What does leadership notice when an organization reaches level 4? Proposal timelines become more reliable. Reviews happen when they're scheduled. Rewrite cycles shrink, and surprises around submission deadlines decrease. Executives are no longer pulled in at the last minute to resolve preventable issues. Compliance errors decline. Tone inconsistencies are caught earlier. Governance works. Capture managers begin to trust that strengths identified early will show up clearly in the final proposal. Leadership's questions get more specific. How has our strength articulation improved? What are our rewrite trends? Where are we seeing measurable gains? That discipline shows up in the numbers. Your win rates increase and your defect trends and rewrite cycle time decrease.
Let's make ROI concrete. At level 4, ROI is measured in competitive impact. It shows up in debrief language, where evaluators begin referencing clear differentiation, compelling strengths, or well-articulated advantages. RI shows up in strength density too. Strengths are no longer situational. They are systematic, clearly labeled, explicitly tied to evaluator criteria, and consistent across volumes. ROI shows up in review team trends too. Instead of finding recurring weaknesses, review teams see fewer structural gaps. Weaknesses decrease quarter over quarter. ROI shows up in capture confidence. Capture managers begin trusting that the strategy will survive translation into writing. Level 4 organizations do not just write faster, they compete better. And that is the difference between efficiency and advantage. At level 4, metrics shift from are we using AI to is AI helping us improve our competitive outcomes? This slide suggests several measurements you might consider at level 4. With metrics, AI becomes a strategy for continual improvement and increased accountability. However, evaluator trust is fragile. AI must operate as an assistant, never an unverified author. Claims must be substantiated. Credentials must be accurate. Tone must remain authentic. In GovCon, trust is a competitive differentiator, and ethical AI applies at every level and becomes a measurable competitive differentiator at level 4. Now let's talk about level 5 transformation. Level 5 organizations do not simply use AI inside proposals, they redesign proposal operations around AI-enabled workflows. Capture, compliance, drafting, review, and lessons learned are no longer separate stages connected by handoffs. They become part of an integrated operating system. Deloitte research finds that organizations are twice as likely to exceed their AI ROI expectations when they redesign how work gets done, not just when they deploy new tools. At level 5, the conversation shifts from how can we write faster to how can we systematically improve competitive performance across every bid. This level is not achieved accidentally. It is designed deliberately. Transformation is not about adopting better tools. It's about rethinking how proposals are produced, measured, and improved. Also, the organization can safely evolve as AI capabilities advance without sacrificing trust, control, or competitiveness. The proposal organization of the future is not AI-driven. It is AI-enabled. Systems are structured, content is governed, and metrics are aligned with leadership objectives. Continuous improvement loops refine performance over time. Organizations that progress deliberately throughout the maturity model will arrive at a disciplined, human-led orchestration system, one that enhances performance over time while keeping humans firmly in control of every consequential decision.
Let's talk about next steps. Your next step depends on where you are today. If you're exploring, formalize some use cases and go to level 2. If you're applying, standardize your workflows and go to level 3. If you're standardizing, start measuring performance indicators and go to level 4. If you're scaling, optimize operations and go to level 5. Progression is sequential. Consider building your next capability in 30 or 60-day focus sprints, one level at a time. Remember, the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Be realistic on what you can do in a given time frame. Don't drive yourself and your team crazy trying to complete a level in an unrealistic time frame, all while trying to get multiple winning proposals out the door. And remember, this is an iterative process with technologies that change and expand their capabilities constantly, sometimes on a daily basis. You'll need to monitor updates and capabilities and determine how to incorporate them into your processes and workflows. We began today's discussion by saying that AI is now a baseline capability. Almost every organization has access to the same tools. What separates proposal teams now isn't access, it's the maturity of their implementation. The question is no longer, are we using AI? The question is our AI use improving our win rate, and can we prove it? If you leave today and do only one thing, benchmark your AI maturity honestly. The organizations that act on that assessment will produce stronger proposals, catch issues earlier, and make better bid decisions. The ones that don't will keep getting faster at producing the same results. The next move is yours. Let me leave you with 4 practical ways to continue this conversation, depending on where you are in your maturity journey. If you're still exploring or want to benchmark your thinking, the first QR code gives you access to a complimentary download of our new book, From Prompts to Proposals. It includes the full maturity model and the self-assessment tool in Appendix A that we referenced earlier. That's a great place to start. You can use the second QR code to download a copy of our first AI book, Insights Volume 5, Harnessing the Power of Gen AI for Bid and Proposal Professionals, where we share our hands-on experience using Gen AI to develop better, higher scoring proposals faster. If you want to build capability across your team, the third QR code links to our classes. All of them have AI built in. If you're ready to move from experimentation to consistent practice, governance, workflows, measurements, the fourth QR code connects you to our workshops and implementation sprints. That's where we work alongside your team to make the changes stick. Wherever you are, the next step matters. Move deliberately. We're here when you're ready. Here's our contact information again. Please reach out if we can help you. Here are our other 9 books. You can download many of them for free on our website or get them on Amazon. Please feel free to email us with your questions. Thank you.